welcome to this week's Three Legs, Four Wheels F1 podcast. It's Paul here with...
Sean.
Kieran.
Lee.
Sorry we've been away for a couple of weeks. It's busy having a life. I don't like it. How do we say that the end of the Austrian Grand Prix was controversial without saying it was controversial?
It was busy.
It was... It stoked debate.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm gonna argue with the fact that it's controversial. There is nothing controversial about the idea that Max Verstappen is not willing to lose a race, and will put himself in the position where he might have an accident because of it.
Yeah.
It's the manner of controversy then, isn't it, I guess? You know, you could lose a race because you've pushed Esteban Ocon off of a weighing machine, or you could lose a race because you've hit your mate.
Yeah.
Well, mate at the time, now possibly not so much.
Yeah.
Technically, I don't think he lost the race because he pushed Esteban Ocon off a weighing machine. I think he lost the race because Esteban Ocon drove into the back of him. I think he had to go I think he had to go on a course because he pushed Esteban Ocon off the weighing machine.
Why am I here? Well,
Yeah, I mean, shoving him off the weighing machine, that's how he was brought up. The apple doesn't get head-butted far from the tree.
Going to defend Max here. If there's any of the drivers of the current crop of drivers, I feel that should be pushed off things. Ocon looks like the guy.
That's fair.
He's our what's his name? Oh my god, he was in trouble for may or may not have attacked somebody with a glass.
oh, Sutil.
Sutil, yeah. He's this generation's Sutil. Incredibly slappable face.
But at least Sutil was boring, you know. You know, somewhere deep down the line, Adrian Sutil has cheated his tax and thought it's the cleverest thing he's ever done. I'm not sure Ocon's like that.
Can I just point out the fact that
Allegedly.
I mean, you might not like somebody that gets into like an argument with somebody in a pub and decides to hit them with a glass, but I think you'd rarely call that person boring.
Fred West, dull bastard. Yeah, no, okay, that's sort of slightly see your point there. And you're right, Ocon is very slappable, but I'd argue Lando's not. So, you know,
That's true. Probably the least slappable of the grid.
take that, Logan Sargent. You've done nothing, and we will slap you more than Lando.
You'd have to catch him for... Oh, hang on.
Where is he? You've already overtaken him. Oh.
So, I mean, the move that Max made, he definitely swerved under braking.
Definitely.
Yeah, although Anthony Davidson did point out, under certain gravitational conditions, yes, he might not have been braking at the time, and it may have been possible to brake with only 10 metres to the corner.
He wasn't braking, the Earth moved quicker. How does that work? I mean, there was an incident on lap 54. There was one on 60, one on 62, one on 63, and then the crash.
Yeah,
right?
it had been coming, hadn't it?
In all of those situations, did Max do right in any of them? Arguably, the penultimate one, where you could say that Lando might have driven him off the track, or Lando might have made the apex. It's either or. It's 50-50.
Right. I love Lando Norris. Right. And I was only saying this to my dad when we were watching the race, that I haven't felt since Jenson Button. And realistically, only apart from a couple of races in McLaren, I only got like half a season of glory from Jenson. You know, it was like the beginning of the Brawn season was pretty good, and after that it got pretty stressful.
Is this where I try and find some like royalty-free romantic music to put a bed under Lee's love story?
You could do, because it's gonna get even more nostalgic. So I haven't had, apart from like our Lord and Savior Fernando Alonso that saved us from the wrath of Schumacher. But like even
you can't say our Lord and Savior and for anybody else apart from Ragga Nathan.
But,
do not take Mahiva's name in vain.
As much as I love what? As much as I love Fernando, there's still the sticking point of for me that we've spoke about this on like the show before. I am sport racist, and therefore I can only stick up for British racing drivers. And
I think normal people would call that patriotic.
Not anymore. That doesn't exist.
I love our national anthem. It's well sports racist.
So no, but there's always been the sticking point with me and Fernando that we weren't geographically born in close enough. So this is the first time, because like the Lewis Hamilton, I was kind of on the Lewis train a little bit, but it was one of those ones where I always found him a little bit arrogant, and I just didn't quite warm to him. Damon Hill was my first ever sporting hero, and obviously I had quite a good run with Damon Hill, from the in Williams and stuff, with him doing quite well. So this is the first time since Hill that I've had like a guy at the front where I feel like he's going to stay at the front for a little bit. However, I don't think, although a finger wagging at Max needed to be had, I don't think what he did was quite as. I don't think it was quite as bad as what people are making it out to be. Especially the final one where they came together, because the rules, the rules are put in place now, where we've got this whole stupid thing where if you're on the outside, you don't have any right to room like that. It's Max had every right, even with people have shown this video of Max veering to the left. He had every right to take the line, to take the corner. I think, although it was 100% Max's fault, that accident, I don't understand how Lando thought that was going to go any different.
Maybe, and I'm quoting Flood on this one. Flood's always said Max will put his car in a position where he gives the other driver the chance. If you want to pass me, that's fine, but we're both going off.
Yeah, he puts another driver in a position to have an accident.
And that's what he did this time, but the amount of moving under braking, the rule that they brought in to stop him doing exactly what he did, and then on a right turn, jinking to the left when he's got a car on the outside of him.
Yeah, but he didn't really jink to the left. He moved to the left. There's no doubt about it. I wouldn't say he jinked. He did. He just drifted. He just drifted to the left.
Yeah, but after he came to the right, so that was two defensive moves under braking.
The worst one was when both cars were damaged.
Yeah,
that one to me, that is a full-on penalty. Because he did force in a panic, because obviously at that point he knew there was something wrong with his car. He knew they'd hit each other. Probably didn't realize he had a puncture quite at that moment. And it very much in an it echoed Villeneuve trying to get past Damon Hill actually at Hungary, didn't it? Where Villeneuve went on the grass to get past, but the Max just ran Lando off the road at that point, and that to me that was worse than the incident for me. But the actual racing part of it, it's really hard racing. And what we need to come to terms with as fans of the sport is like there's a gladiator element to it, isn't there? Like, are you not entertained? And I would prefer to continue to see hard racing like that than go back to the days where if cars brushed next to each other, somebody got a penalty.
I would be disappointed if that crash had never happened at the end and we're still on lap 868, 69, whatever, and they turn around and say, well, actually, we're going to investigate Max Verstappen for moving under braking on lap 54. I'd be annoyed if that was the case. I don't think that any of them warranted a penalty until the contact, but they were all things where it was Max forcing his hand against Lando because he knew with the run up the hill you get into 1 to 2 and then into 2 to, or start line to 1, then 1 to 3 because 2 is not really a corner.
Yeah,
I think he was worried that, look, the move's coming sooner or later. We've seen a couple of Lando dive bombs this weekend. I'm going to have to figure out another way of keeping him behind me, and it's got to be slightly more brutal, unintentional or not. It's got to be slightly more brutal than just blocking him under braking. So yeah, I also there was the whole thing at the time about the track limits as well, wasn't there, for Lando, and whether or not Lando had that fourth time he went off, whether or not that's classed as track limits, because
according to the P1 podcast, that's what is it Tom? It's Tom, isn't it? The other guy from P1. Yeah, he believed that when Lando and Max hit each other, that was the penalty, wasn't it?
Well, there was a time a lap before, wasn't there, where Lando went off, and I said to Jane, "That's it. That's 4. They're going to do him for that." But you don't gain an advantage if you've gone off the track and you're out halfway towards turn 5. You haven't gained an advantage when you rejoin the track. You've lost time.
Yeah.
So if you've slightly clipped the curb, or there's a flat curb, but it's just painting, and you've cut that, that's track limits. It's not track limits when you're 150 yards off to the left trying to avoid the fucking sausage curb to make it back onto the track.
Yeah,
and that did my 100%. Head in as well, because he then got a penalty whilst he was limping back to the pits, which is just wrong. He hasn't gained an advantage. You could argue he made a pretty good move up the inside 1 lap before that as well, and that was classed as, oh well, no, I mean, Max is going to track limits and take that back because he thinks he was run off. None of that was ever debated, but they're quick to go, well, you've gone over the white line a 4th time. That is such bollocks, and yet they let that ride every single time. The second you're off the track, whether you've just cut the line or you're well off the line, they just go, it's track limits. But it's not worth it.
It's lazy. It's lazy stewarding, isn't it? Because it's it's just saying everything's black and white, so here's the rules. And I get that you have to have certain things like that, but it's laziness because they don't want to be controversial.
Yeah,
it's the wording of the rule as well. I think is not helpful, because Lando's penalty was leaving the track without a justifiable reason, as opposed to gain an advantage. So the fact that he didn't gain an advantage, the way the rule is written, isn't a thing, but it is a bit of a sort of shitty wording.
I think for the 4th one, the justifiable reason was if he'd have stayed within the track limits, he would have run into another car.
Not justifiable, according to the FIA.
I've got a justifiable reason.
Oh, go on.
You've got 2 of the best drivers in the world in 2 almost identical cars racing each other, like at the absolute limit of what their machinery can do for a race win. That feels like a justifiable reason for overcooking it now and again.
Take it up with Johnny Herbert. He was the driver's steward.
Oh, Limpy. Fucking hell, is he still hanging about? Jesus Christ.
Friend of the podcast.
I was about to say
that. I'm sure he knows that if he still listens to the show, it's for lols.
Don't slur him, baby.
But this is the thing, though. To double down on it.
Oh Christ!
No, but maybe this is the. Maybe some of the driver stewards are too old. I don't know who the other driver stewards were, but
well, there's only ever one actual driver, is there?
Yeah,
and it's.
I think the only sort of young-ish one is Liuzzi, isn't it? I think he's the only sort of
under 50.
Oh, we're fucking saved.
A Force India driver that's never glassed anyone in a pub.
That's fair. That's well done.
You got Liuzzi, Herbert. Mansell doesn't do it anymore, does he? Derek Warwick.
Glass people.
Yeah. What do you say about my Tash? Pick a card.
What's his face? Pirro still do it as well.
Emanuele Pirro, yeah, I think so. I think Mika Salo's been stopped from doing it because he was texting his mate working for Finnish TV with the decisions before they got officially announced.
Yeah. Imagine leaking stewarding decisions before they're announced. What does that gain? It's going to be announced. Yeah, they could do with some fresh meat, and there are drivers who I guess that does sort of work with, but anyone under 30 is blindly convinced that they're going to get back into Formula One. Your Van Dorns, your Kvyats, people like that, so they can't do it. Then anyone under 40, there's no one interesting. I don't know.
Alex Brundle is the only sensible young driver. He knows he's not going to get into Formula One, so he just needs to stay in the paddock.
We should get Davide Valsecchi to do it.
Oh, he's joined the Sky team, the Formula One TV team, hasn't he?
Yeah,
has he?
Yeah. Like all I've done is sang the praises of F1 TV since it came to the point to recommend him to people that happen to be in the UK that if they should decide to do it, that there is things called VPN. You don't have to watch Sky anymore. It's great. But then they go and do that to me after everything I've done for them.
It's like you've set the AI in the game to medium, and now you have to try and watch it with Davide Valsecchi. Our new pundits, Johnny Herbert and Paul Di Resta.
But he starts every sentence like he's short of breath.
Because he is.
Because he
massive coronary at 34 is only around the corner at this point.
Yeah, because he ran out of breath at the end of the last sentence. I can't remember who said it, but yeah, if Murray Walker commentates like his trousers are on fire, Davide Valsecchi sounds like somebody's throwing petrol over him while he's wearing Murray Walker's trousers.
There was that brilliant sort of time about 2016, 2017 or so when he co-commentated F2 with Alex Jakes. And Alex Jakes I think he's the best commentator in the world right now. He'd build up, he'd get excited, he'd tell you exactly what's happening, but he'd do it quickly, he'd do it violently. And then Davide would be on the side going, "Oh!" Progressively louder and louder and louder with no words. And sometimes you just go, Alex! You know? Yeah, he's there, he's watching it. Same TV screen. Oh, those were brilliant. Those were so good.
I've got to admit, I do miss his commentary. I'm sorry,
my dad
Lee.
does a good impression of him.
Sorry, Lee, but you know you're in the minority here, mate.
I'm happy to be. Happy to be. I'd rather he be in a group of one and correct.
General election this week.
I was going to say it's been about 3 weeks since the last show. We've got some really interesting news to catch up on, like Pierre Gasly and Lance Stroll extending their contracts.
Yay!
I mean, all right, yeah, Gasly you can understand.
Yeah, because they are not going to attract 2 new drivers to that team.
Not a chance. But Stroll.
Did it need an announcement? Has it ever had an announcement before? I just feel like he's kind of turned
this
up.
Is first time, isn't it? They've actually said it.
No, I thought
he's let Alonso home for the last couple of weeks.
They did make an announcement when he was joining Racing Point.
Yeah, but otherwise, I don't think there's ever been a formal "we've retained Lance Stroll" kind of announcement.
You know, they might as well put the press release out saying Lawrence hasn't sold the team. Guess what?
But some wild speculation. could that actually be why Lance Stroll suddenly has a contract?
Because
we're not. I know we're not talking about these like the drivers and stuff like that and where they're doing races, but he'd probably be doing better in that Red Bull than Perez.
I mean, who knows? Potentially. But yeah, is he putting Stroll under a contract so that if he does opt out, the sun is safe?
I mean,
never thought of it like
there you
that.
go. Just gonna float that. Or they just wanted to steal some like limelight. I don't know, but
I think they wanted to make him sound better than he is.
I think they did it.
Guys, we're announcing the boss's son, right? No, guys. Guess who we've poached? Who? The boss's son. Yeah.
I think they did it for our benefit, just so as we'd bring back Captain Obvious.
it's fair.
And the other big speculation, Renault pulling out of F1, or their engines, or Alpine.
Is this a clip from 2017? I can't. Is this a clip show?
Yeah, look. So it looks like in 2026, Alpine will be driving with either a Honda or a Mercedes engine. And what is the point of a car manufacturer that is known for making its own engines in its own cars?
They can't sell them to any other team, though, can they?
yeah.
If they're all the teams are tied up with deals, and there's no new teams aren't coming in because apparently that would be boring. So there's no one to sell their engines to, is there? I'm surprised that Alpine still have staff.
Oh, they've sold 30% of them off already.
Yeah. Well, Joe Saward was reporting last week which means it's bollocks, but he was reporting last week that they were leaving left, right, and centre.
I wonder if
maybe leaving a conversation with Joe Saward, because that is the best thing to do. Because don't forget, it wasn't like that in his day.
I wonder if this has anything to do with Briatore, like coming in, and like, because it just seems, it also things seem to be happening really quickly within that team. Like almost like someone that knows what they're doing to come in and say, right, we need to strip this shit away right now.
Or he's got his own people that he's going to bring in,
like Pat Fry and PK Jr. and
probably not some of those.
Pat Simmons, sorry.
Yeah.
He's already back anyway. He's worked for F1 anyway, so
yeah. The day I wasn't surprised that Flavio was coming back was the day 10 years ago when they signed up Pat Simmons.
Yeah, to work for F1.
Yeah. What do you think that F1 looked at him on Sky and went, there's that young dynamic speaker we've been looking for? Come on board, Pat.
Don't forget, at the time it was when Ross Brawn was MD of F1, and speculation has it that Brawn only got the job being in charge of the rule book because he was so good at bending the rules when he was running teams.
That's
yeah,
fair.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
It's like when they get Dom Littlewood to burgle your house for TV.
He's got previous.
Yeah.
Do you think the idea has been floated to Formula One and said, like, this Adrian Newey guy, let's buy him? Let's buy him, and then when it comes to the next rule change, turn around to him and say, right, Adrian, this whole, like, super Formula One car you're talking about that are making, what is Adrian Newey's idea of the future of Formula One?
Give me a pencil and 10 minutes and you'll have it.
I think I'd quite enjoy seeing what Formula Newey turned out to be.
Yes.
I wouldn't.
Hey,
I wouldn't, because the cars would actually move that fast that the cameras couldn't keep up with them and you wouldn't be able to see them.
How many years have we been doing this podcast,
He could design a
Paul?
camera. He could design a camera that would work in sync with the car.
Oh, that's a point. Red Bull have got that 200-mile-an-hour drone, haven't they? Maybe he was behind that.
Then he has to design someone's thumbs.
But how long have we been doing this podcast for, Paul? Was it 2015 we started?
Yes.
I don't believe that a season has gone past where I haven't mentioned at least once that like I want F-Zero as a real thing, and I think Formula Nui is the first real footstep towards that.
Only if we get the pounding trance music with it at the same time.
Yeah, well, in between making Formula Nui, he can also make like a Lazarus machine and bring back Keith Flint for it.
Yeah, but he was all about the bikes, though, wasn't
he? Yeah, but obviously Newey'd like tamper with him.
I saw the Prodigy live last week, and they had to tamper with him with lasers.
Wow.
They brought out a hologram Keith Flint.
Oh, why do bands keep doing this? I mean, it all started with what?
Because he's dead, Paul.
Well, yeah, I know. I am quite aware of this. But I mean, we had the holographic 2-pack. The holographic Ronnie James Dio. I think there's been an Elvis.
Elvis, yeah. Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, avatars.
ABBA.
We're getting Virtual Kiss in a couple of years.
Even to be fair, you've had Virtual Kiss for the last few.
Yeah. All right, we're getting Virtual Kiss.
Yeah, we had holographic Keith Flint, which was somehow less terrifying than the real thing.
Was it cool though? Was it a cool thing?
It was great. I only saw about half an hour of it, but yeah, it was great. It was absolutely brilliant. Very impressive.
Yeah, it was only the
weird.
It was only the fire starter because his laser wasn't plugged in properly.
It was weird, I would say. It was very like the Prodigy now basically are one technical genius and one hype man, and it doesn't work as much. But yeah, it was cool. Yeah, I give him one more album.
One of our friends went to see them when he was still alive, and we never actually found out what that was like live, because all we heard afterwards was how shit Dizzy Rascal, who was the support act, was.
I bid on a number of his things in his house clearance auction.
What, Dizzy Rascals?
No, yeah. Yeah. Keith Flint.
Yes.
You should have seen some stuff. He had a taxidermied squirrel. I thought, well, I'll stick 50 quid on that. You never know. It might go for 50 quid. What's that? It went for $2,000. Damn it. Just short.
Are we going to have to call tonight's show Keith Flint's taxidermied squirrel?
Maybe.
Where were we?
I don't know. Were we talking about engines?
Alpine. Latest track. Anyway, we'd like to welcome Renault back to Formula One in 2028.
Yes.
Where they will probably have Fernando Alonso driving for them.
Of course.
What's the chance of that being rebadged like Briatore Grand Prix?
I think the rest of the grid has to approve it. So anyone with a driver that he manages will have to say yes. Otherwise, those teams won't have a driver that he manages for much longer.
Does he actually manage anyone other than Alonso at the minute?
He doesn't technically manage Alonso either, does he?
No, he's like some kind of personal advisor.
Because there's another guy which is like Alonso's manager. I forgot what his name is, but he is very much in like has lots of lunches with Flavio.
Yeah, Briatore has more fingers in more pies than your average member of staff from Greg's.
Oh,
too easy. I'm not stooping that low.
I'm not going to Greg's again.
I'm only jealous because we haven't got one over it. Anyway, should we go team by team?
We haven't got one over here either. Don't worry. We have one on our ferry. So 20 minutes every hour we had a Greg's.
Oh my God! I've just seen the taxidermied rabbit.
Oh, let's have a look.
It's got a
gun.
It's got a shotgun.
Wow.
Yeah.
How much did that one go for?
Let's see, $23.55.
What?
So I was only, let's see, 2,305 down on that.
That's getting shared later to confuse everyone. Let's go team by team.
I think that should have a little little caption underneath saying, "And Mr. Frumpton was fucked right up."
You could also bid on his bed, and I'll just let you Google that. Google Keith Flint's bed.
No.
That's all your joy.
No. Lee, can you do that and share the photo?
No, I've got a clean device. I'm keeping it that way.
I think it's time for one of our patented jump cuts. It's not Tuesday news this time, even though it is Tuesday when I'm recording this. Just wanted to update everyone on how I'm going with the Magic Mind mental performance shots. And it's great. I mean, I've been taking it for a few weeks now, because it's been a few weeks since I last talked about this. And I think, really, by taking it daily, I'm actually getting on top of my game. I'm definitely more focused. I didn't know what a flow state was before I tried this. Looked it up, and it's like, oh, hang on a minute. Yeah, I'm actually moving easily from one task to another and being generally more focused with everything. You can get these benefits as well with Magic Mind, which is a fantastic formula. It's taken them 106 goes to get it right, but I'll tell you what, practice makes perfect, and they've definitely practiced with it because it's absolutely fantastic. And as I keep saying, it is not a replacement for coffee. I work in IT. I drink coffee to basically get through the day. I'm actually drinking less coffee at the minute because I don't need the sort of stimulant and waking up effects that coffee gives me. So I'm getting it in a probably healthier, more natural way. If you want to give it a try, then we've got a limited offer that you can use. Gets you up to 48% off your first subscription or 20% off one-time purchases. Just use the code 4Wheels20 at the checkout. That's FOUR Wheels and the number 20. Or you can go to magicmind.com/4wheels. And again, that's FOUR Wheels. Get your discount. Give it a try. They've got a 100% guaranteed refund. If it doesn't work within 100 days of buying it, they will refund everything. And they also ship to 65 countries, so it doesn't matter where you're listening to this. Because I know we often go top 20 in Namibia. Hopefully they'll ship it there. Right, here endeth the jump cut. Right, Williams. Logan Sargent in 19th, only driver 2 laps down.
I didn't know that. Did something happen to him at the start? Because he came in.
He was dropped.
He did get damage on the opening lap. I don't know who from or how, but he did have to make a first lap pit stop.
I didn't see it.
Entropy. What is that cat doing?
Savaging my bag.
The history hasn't shone bright for American Formula One drivers with cool names.
Not since Mario Andretti.
No.
Yeah, Scott Speed didn't have any. Logan Sargent, never getting promoted from there. I'm struggling here.
No.
Logan Private, this place.
Have we said Scott Speed?
Didn't have any.
Yeah, sorry, missed that.
Yeah. Why is he still there? Notice Williams have put Franco Colapinto in his car for FP1 at Silverstone. And it'd be interesting to see how his time compares to what Logan's time was last year.
He's no different to Sargent, is he really?
Yeah,
because Sargent was basically Latifi minus 5 years. Colapinto's basically Sargent minus 3. He's what, 7th in the F2 Championship? Didn't Logan Sargent get to F1 on Fair Play Award? I mean, it's just not. It's they haven't. The answer to the Williams problem is to sign Bottas.
I've signed Bottas, or if I think the only reason Sargent hasn't been under more pressure than he should be is because Williams were not far too concerned, because I get why they were, but their top priority for the last few races has been signing Carlos Sainz. that's been their motivation for as far as contracts go. They know that
and the 1.2 million a race that he brings in.
Yeah, but I don't think they need the money, do
it's
they?
It's not
That's
as big a thing for them now, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they'll probably have to pay most of this season's back if they bin him.
So, yeah, well, that's the thing. I don't think they're going to bin him. That's it. You know, I don't think they're going to get rid of him early doors.
No, but
that's because they thought they were going to have Carlos Sainz, and now with this whole Alpine getting Mercedes engines, it doesn't seem that they're going to get Carlos Sainz.
No, I think Bottas is the favourite for his seat at the minute.
Do you know what? If depending on what's going on with Alpine, I'd make a smash and grab for someone like Mick Doohan if I was Williams.
Mick Doohan would be a bold choice.
No, Mick Doohan, sorry.
That last time Mick Doohan sat in a Williams, I don't think it saw the light of day again afterwards. I think he broke it permanently.
What's the other one
Jack.
called?
Jack Doohan,
yeah. But no, I'd make I would, instead of getting like a second-hand Bottas, if you're wanting to do this whole like we're a new Williams sort of thing, you know, we're piecing this together, we're planning for the future, then get drivers to plan for the future. Albon's experienced enough in Formula One now to lead a Formula One team. You know, he's been around enough.
I think the issue with Doohan, it's
Jack, not Mick.
Yes, the problem that any other team at the moment.
Biaggi next.
The only problem that any other team would have with Doohan is it all relies on Sainz, because I think Doohan will be in that position where if he doesn't get a seat in Alpine next year, he's free to go.
Yeah, so he's got the old Piastri situation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if Williams want him now, they'll have to pay.
Well, I don't think they take him now. That's the thing. I don't think they get rid of Sargent.
Oh no! If Williams want him next season
to sign him, just to get
sign
the
him now
contract done
for 2025, they would have to pay, because his clause, his release clause wouldn't have happened. So until he's in a position where it's 100% certain he's not going to get a seat at Alpine next year because Sainz has got the seat, then the stuff all Williams can do.
The thing is, because you've got a couple of drivers coming into Formula One, like Behrman, maybe Lawson, we're not sure yet, but we'll say definitely Behrman. So there's definitely
and probably Antonelli.
And probably Antonelli, yeah, but that's kind of that kind of doesn't solve this problem. What I mean is Formula One drivers are going to be going spare that probably don't want to go anywhere. Like him coming in doesn't matter because that's Sainz is already the problem. Like as far as where's he going? But if for Williams, being almost the last pick is advantageous given how bad Sargent is, because I would take Magnussen over Sargent.
Mm-hmm.
I would take Bottas over Sargent. I would take Daniel Ricciardo over Sargent.
Yeah,
if I had to. So there will be a driver when the merry-go-round stops that it doesn't want to be doesn't want to be out of Formula One, but has more market value and is a upgrade from what they currently have, if Sainz signs or not. So Sainz is obviously the best choice of the bunch, but I can see why they're not rushing it.
Yeah, I think until he has signed with someone, you don't quite know what the whole picture is going to be.
There's no harm in saying our driver academy's not there yet. Let's take on a veteran. There's no harm in that whatsoever. And I was very critical of Alpine back in 2020 when they announced they were going to take Alonso next year and not Christian Lundgaard or Zhou Guanyu.
Are you on crack?
I'd like to apologise to those people. I'd like to formally say to the people of Enstone, I'm on crack. I had a bad day. I stubbed my toe. It was my mistake. But yeah, I didn't think that was a good idea.
I know, like you keep saying, there's a general election coming up, but you don't have to lie.
Vote reform. No, I don't believe that. There's just not. There's no reason not to take a Daniel Ricciardo. Okay, he's out of form at Visa Cash App, whether they're called, right?
Buy one get one free.
Yeah, that lot. Price Wars F1. You've got like 4 or 5 drivers who potentially could be out of a job this season. Yes, you're right. Sainz is the goal, but if you don't get Sainz, good news. You're not stuck with Franco Colapinto. You just take on Bottas, or you take on Ricciardo, or if you're high that day, you take on Magnussen. It's still better than Sargent.
I mean, even Ocon is actually saying he's got F1 options open next year.
Well, he's apparently signed for Haas already, allegedly.
Yeah, that has been doing the rounds.
Him and Behrman in a Haas.
Interesting.
I don't hate Magnussen. I think he's still got stuff to offer in Formula One.
He'll do less crash damage than a Logan Sargent, which probably makes Williams' life a bit easier.
Yeah.
Just.
Yeah.
No.
And by next year as well, some of his penalty points will have started coming off, so he might not have to do a ban.
Do you think he misses his first race for Williams if he gets banned his last race for Haas?
Yeah, it's
next race, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the next race.
Hasn't Jenson Button still got a grid penalty?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Well, welcome to your first and only Grand Prix, Franco Colapinto.
Yeah, it's who you go for. I mean, right, so we know there's gonna be at least one new driver in there. Who is gonna lose out next year? Sod the review just yet. Let's silly season it. So who isn't gonna be on the grid?
Magnussen.
Magnussen feels like he feels like the one that lifts out.
I think you're right.
I quite like him at the moment.
Yeah, I think you're right, but I would prefer it if it was Bottas.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think Joe's going to be there.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, no, Joe's not going to be there.
I think I just kind of assumed he was gone already.
Yeah.
See, I mean, I know who knows what's going to happen with Sauber and like the Audi thing. But I don't believe Magnussen, if you consider that Hülkenberg done enough to get a works Audi drive, even if it's a couple of years away, he's got a works Audi drive. I don't think Magnussen is far enough behind him to warrant falling out of the sport. If one of them is going to Audi and the other one can't find a drive, that to me feels unfair.
But yeah, I think. I mean, obviously, Sargent's gone. He's not staying. And I think the other one is. I think Joe, his time is done.
Yeah. But then you've got coming in. Antonelli, Behrman,
and
is that it?
Maybe Lawson.
Maybe Lawson, and maybe Doohan.
Oh yeah.
So we could be looking at Sargent, Magnussen, Joe, and one other.
Ricciardo.
Yeah, maybe. I think Ricciardo will find a seat somewhere.
I hope it's Williams at that point.
Well, or Haas.
Do you think Alpine could take Ricciardo?
I think if Sainz doesn't go to Audi, they probably should.
Who's the junior drivers down at Alpine apart from Jack Doohan? Oh, it's going to be Jack Doohan, isn't it? They're not going to take Victor Martins, is it?
No,
No.
Christ, no.
Push Maney.
There's definitely something, though, that's Red Bull know that we don't know. There has to be a reason why they don't seem to have faith in Lawson. It just feels there feels to be a reluctancy to Lawson. I don't know where. Maybe it's his attitude. Maybe it's something they see on the sim when he's doing it. Maybe it's the fact he looks like a Harry Potter villain.
Maybe it's his special set of skills.
Yeah, he keeps talking to snakes. But yeah, there's clearly something in Red Bull where they just don't feel like taking the punt on him in the same ways they seem to have forgot. Because I get the same feeling that they have towards Yuki Tsunoda, but they seem to have so many other problems that they keep forgetting to cancel his contract, like a Netflix subscription.
Thanks, your payment for ITVX has been received. Fuck! Every month's time is fled.
Helmet, we've bought Yuki again.
Yeah, we've been paying for Apple TV non-stop since more or less when it started. And I don't think we've watched anything more than the first season and a half of Ted Lasso.
I don't even think we've started the second season.
That season's worse.
Ted Lasso.
Okay, I hear if you watch one episode of the shows they have on, you can watch the whole series like in a year.
I got Apple TV to watch the Beastie Boys movie and then ended up paying for it for 3.5 years. And that isn't the deal. That wasn't the deal they offered.
Anyway, going back to where we were. Logan Sargent. Right, participation award. Yeah, he gets that every. Actually, no, he doesn't even qualify for the participation award. He turned up and
he participated in 69/71 of that Grand Prix. That can't be denied.
I mean, by lap 2, he's in danger of being lapped by the medical car.
Yeah, it's not great.
No.
And Albon 15th. They just didn't have it this weekend.
No.
But it's all about straight line speed, and Williams have lost straight line speed to gain the stability in the corners because the car is still a little bit heavier than it should be. So now, Albon said a few weeks ago that he was having to bite his tongue about the overweight car. And I think they've still got signs of that problem. And sticking my neck out, I think they're going to struggle at Silverstone as well.
Probably.
Yeah, and that's usually their better track, isn't it? Silverstone and Monza.
Yeah. And don't look for him anywhere near the front at Monza. Right, what we got next? Sauber, now we're into proper participation territory. Does anybody remember Sauber doing anything notable?
Guan Yu Zhou got rear-ended by Alonso.
Oh yeah,
that
did happen.
That's all I've got for you.
Oh yeah, the wow moment.
Yes. No, I don't. I think there wasn't the wow moment when he got cut up by Ocon.
Oh, it could have been.
No, he got a penalty for it, didn't he, Alonso? I think, but yes. Aside from that, I don't know what either of them did. I'm not quite sure they were there.
I remember seeing another green car.
I don't remember seeing them at all.
Did Bottas stall?
What, his career?
No, didn't one of them stall? Was it in the sprint race? One of them stalled.
There was one of the Sauber
Did
juniors.
Zane Maloney stall?
Yeah, I was going to say
Zane Maloney stalled. Yeah,
there was a Sauber junior stuck on the grid in the F2.
Yeah, okay, so Zane Maloney stalled. Yeah, so that's not... Yeah, that was notable.
So the most notable thing is their F2 driver stalled.
Christ.
What bollocks is that? I'm so sorry.
And people wonder why we call them Saubanonymous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, move on.
Right, move on. Aston Martin, Stroll in 13th and Alonso in 18th. With the fastest lap.
Yes.
Yeah, that came from nowhere.
Impressive though, given the narrative at the end where Max was all of a sudden the enemy, but he's stuck on some softs, so he got some fastest lap. It's quite funny that Alonso got hit in the end for no points.
It shows the damage that must have happened to Max's car, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that Alonso got it on lap 70. So, I mean, Alonso was elbowsy.
Yes.
A little bit complainy.
Was wow a complaint? I think it was delivered with a bit of disdain, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think he complained about the penalty. Stroll was... Again, he's on my participation list.
Stroll is just doing Stroll stuff. That's the thing here. He's not even being made to look bad because whatever's going on with that car, it just means Alonso can't do Alonso things in it. So
which in qualifying is give Stroll a toe to get him into Q2.
Yeah, so Stroll is kind of just still being Stroll. It's all a bit meh for them, isn't it?
That lad loves 13th place.
Just.
Yes, happy Canada Day.
Yeah.
It's just sad, though, isn't it? Like that when you look at what's going on with Aston Martin now, where it's like this time last year, we still thought we had like the beginnings of a front-running team in them. There was all the hype about the facilities they're building, and there was the talk that they're going, we're ahead of schedule because we expected to be here next year, and now we've got podiums and stuff like that. And you want to talk about something that's stalled? This stalled.
They won the 24 Hours of Spa this weekend.
Did they?
Great.
So
that's like saying congratulations to Fernando Alonso, whose namesake Xavi Alonso has won the La Liga.
No, I'm just wondering if they're going to turn up at Silverstone with a couple of Vantages and say, "Look, have a go. It's probably better than last week's car." Yeah, Aston Martin have just really failed to deliver this year.
Yeah.
Are they just flying a holding pattern for 2026?
It feels like it, doesn't it?
But, I mean, given the way that Lawrence Stroll sort of carries himself business-wise, you wouldn't think that'd be the kind of thing he'd put up with. Because he appears to be one of these people that wants everything done by the time he's finished this sentence.
I'd argue, though, that he probably wouldn't be a very good businessman if that was actually true. Like most people that are good at business know that they can't get involved in something and it be like an overnight success. There's a lot of like overnight successes that take 3.5 years.
I've worked for a lot of people that have made a success in business, got a load of money, and then decided that everything has to happen straight away in the future.
Oh yeah, but generally those people that I know the sort of people you're talking about, but they're the sort of people that work for people like Lawrence Stroll. There's a difference of caliber of people, but I'm still be interested to see if Newey's going there. I said ages ago on the show, I think Adrian Newey will find himself in Aston Martin. He gets to stay in the UK, doesn't have to go to Italy. Bonuses. I think the name Aston Martin will be a pull to him. I think Fernando Alonso will be a pull to him, and more importantly, maybe getting like free reign in the most advanced facilities that Formula One has had built will be a pull for him.
And he probably gets to have something to do with the Valkyrie as well, which he started.
And he will get like this, like a never-ending bag of money.
You mean a second one on top of the one that Red Bull's already given him?
I wonder how that goes, because that must be a thing, because in the budget cap era, and I wonder how many brown paper bags go under desks in those situations.
Well, with a lot of it, it might not be classed as team expenses or catering, for that matter. It could be hiring out an external contractor.
Yeah, he might not be employed by Red Bull Racing. He might be employed by Red Bull Technologies, and some of his work is applied to the F1 team.
Red Bull Racing buy an amount of technology from him for something that keeps them under the cost cap.
Yes.
Yeah.
It started life as a boat, honest.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Red Bull Technologies show an annual balance sheet with an overall net loss of $70 squillion. And Red Bull Racing, how much did the car design cost? 85 pence.
I just think there's more. There feels like there's more room for exploitation when it's a team which is owned by like a single entity like Lawrence Stroll, because he has so much money that it could be a case of, right, well, we'll pay you this, Adrian, but quietly I'm going to double that.
I mean, it's happened for years in a lot of American sports with salary caps, where players actually sign personal services contracts to the owner directly, and the owner just lends them to the team or tells them, yes, you work for me, and the work I want you to do is go play for my team.
Or they'll have their salary with the team and also a massive sponsorship deal with a company that happens to be owned by the same person who owns the team.
Right. Okay. So yeah, I get it. All of a sudden, Adrian Newey gets X by that, and then X from a Ramco or something like that.
Yes, he just happens to also be the poster boy for Aston Martin, but not Aston Martin Racing, just Aston Martin, the car person.
You know, if there's a loophole, it will be found in F1.
Yes.
Actually, no. Yeah. No, scrub that. If there's a loophole, it will be found in sport.
It's interesting how it's all gone quiet on the Newey front, isn't it?
Yeah, I reckon the deal's already done somewhere, and it's just in a silent period, and the news is embargoed.
Yeah, it could even be part of his gardening leave that he's not allowed to announce where he's going while he's still contracted to Red Bull.
Yeah,
that's sort of fairly standard, isn't it, in F1? I think that they don't like you to be sort of in two places at once.
I reckon he might take a break. I reckon.
He claims that's what he wants to do.
I reckon he's going to spend a year on his boat and then figure it out.
I don't think he'll do that, because I don't think when you get to that sort of age, if he wants to do something else in Formula One, like another big project, I think at the age he's at, you can't guarantee that you're going to get the opportunity to continue to do things.
Anyway, it's not going to be a year in his boat, it'll be a year in his motorhome, because you can park them up and they have tables in them that you can sit down and draw things. On a boat, it tends to be a bit bouncy.
He comes back after a year and there's just Lawrence Stroll going, but these drawings are crap. There's a squiggly line. We can't do that. Tyres are round.
I bought you a ruler. It was gold.
Right, now to draw the Venturi.
Let's see. Alpine, I reckon, next. Ocon in 12th, Gasly in 10th.
Going all right for Alpine.
Gasly being obviously the biggest beneficiary of what happened at the front, because he would have finished 11th otherwise. Yeah, they have come on. I mean, they knew at the start of the season they were going to be at the back of the grid. We just still aren't seeing the we'll be going for podiums, and then we'll be going for wins, and then we'll be going for championships.
No, he's re-signed, didn't he, this weekend?
Gasly's re-signed. I think it's a 1+1. Maybe longer, but He's definitely going to be there for another year. He's the one that's won the battle with Ocon. They didn't try and kill each other too much this weekend, which makes a change.
I think Gasly had one whinge, didn't he, when they were both kind of in the same area as Alonso. Did Ocon push him a bit wide and there was a bit of a kick-off?
Yeah.
They are the most uninspiring driver pairing, I think, I've ever seen in Formula One.
Ever?
Yeah, I think so. Because they don't even at least Sargent isn't without his entertainment.
I'm just trying to think back to other drab pairings we've had.
The thing is, we've had lots of drab pairings who've lasted one season and never scored a point, like your Sakon Yamamoto and Yuji days. But for people who have both won a race, yeah, probably Gasly and Ocon's quite high up there. Maldonado and Bruno
Team
Senna.
C. It's like the C team, because I don't think either of them are actually good enough to be like a number 2 driver, a Red Bull or a McLaren for if it was a championship winning car. I don't think either of them are good enough to be the number 2 driver. So it's like Team C.
Fisichella and Ralph Furman.
I put Fisichella
harsh on Fisichella.
Yeah, Fisichella's better than both of them.
Tiago Montero and Narain Carter-Cayan.
Ooh.
Now we're cooking.
Yeah, here we are.
now we're.
Or what Paul just had was a slight misinterpretation of the rules. It wasn't in the spirit.
Actually, another quality Jordan one. Bertrand Gachot and Andrea De Cesaris.
Yeah, see, there's a difference.
There's character, though.
Yeah, there's a difference between a bad driver pairing and a drab driver pairing. It's like uninspiring and bad are two different things. Like there's no Renault mechanic that wakes up in the morning and go, fucking hell, I'm in Alpine and I work on Pierre Gasly's car.
See, I'd sooner watch Mr. Bean's Holiday than The Hangover 3. Because The Hangover 3, you know what you're getting. Mr. Bean's Holiday, it might be crap, but Matt from Busted did the song, so I'm going to watch it. I'd rather have, in 2021, watched the worst driver on the grid try and keep Vettel in front of it, keep himself in front of Vettel for the win at Hungary than Esteban Ocon.
I don't think I wouldn't want to keep either of them.
I've got no interest in Gasly, but again, this is like the 8th podcast in a row where I've said I've never really rated Gasly. But yeah, I know what you mean. They're both dull. They are the Keen of F1.
Yeah, it fits the team though. This is the. Do you know what it shows? McLaren are the perfect example of how to take a team that's in a bad place and fix it. And one of the ways they've done it is by revitalizing the lineup. And that starts with Sainz and Lando. Now obviously they got Oscar in. And there's just if you can get two people in that at least bring something in themselves, it's a start. But and you can do that quite easily. That's the easiest way. There's only so many cars on the grid, and there's loads of people that want to get into Formula One. So surely the easiest thing in a Formula One team is to get a couple of half decent peddlers, and like the hard bit is to build a car for them.
Yeah, but they never do that.
No. Building Formula One cars is hard.
only Williams. Where are we going to go next? I think possibly RB. Yuki 14th and Danny in 9th.
Decent result that for Ricciardo, actually.
Yeah, he managed to pull that one out quite well. Decent qualifying as well.
Did he just miss out on Q3? Was that him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's had more Q1 exits than he should have done this year. And what was it? 11th he started.
I think so. Yeah.
Let's have a look.
Do you know the wild thing about Ricardo is if he can just get it together, he can still be in a Red Bull next year.
Yeah. I mean, if he at this point can start being sort of in and around, or in this case, a few places ahead of Tsunoda, when they've kept Tsunoda, then he should at least be staying where he is, if not looking elsewhere.
Ironically, Danny's Q2 time would have actually got him 9th on the grid if he'd made it to Q3.
It was really tight as well, wasn't it? I think was it like a 100th of a second or something ridiculous?
Let's have a look. It was 1500ths.
Oh.
Yeah, just 0.015. So yes, he's finally starting to. I think he's finally starting to put the car where it should be. It's just a shame for RB that they don't. They seem to end up doing the binary thing, and when one of them has a good week, the other one has a bad one.
Yeah, they are very much those sorts of people, aren't they?
Yeah.
Whereas this week, no.
Just trying to think when was the last double points finish they had?
Ooh, now you're asking.
Not this year, I don't think.
No.
No. Let's have a look. The problem is, I've had that many names, so somebody makes a new Wikipedia page every time they change the name. Last double point finish for the second Red Bull team was 2021.
Heck. That is ridiculous.
Yeah, 2021 Abu Dhabi. Yuki in 4th and Gasly in 5th.
Remember when Yuki got 4th?
that was the thing where everyone was looking at Max and Lewis.
There was other things going on,
yeah.
Was that Bottas was crapping himself in public. On his final race at Mercedes, he went, okay, 1 lap, got myself a podium if I catch up to Sainz. Who are you? Oh, shit. Who are you?
Yeah, so that team, in whatever incarnation that it's in, no double points finishes for what we're into now, two and a half full seasons.
I do like the fact now that we've got it into our heads that they're not going to surprise us. Like the amount of years we've gone into a season thinking, oh, I wonder if Red Bull are going to share more technology with them, and they're going to be like a top team, like scoring podiums, and where Red Bull will dominate the sport with 2 teams.
We call that the March mantra.
Yeah, but I think we're past it now.
Bloody hope so. Next up, we have a surprising double points finish for Haas.
When was their last double points finish?
Oh, now you're asking.
Gathered around the campfire.
Yeah.
Now you're asking the question.
Gutierrez probably drove for them.
I don't think Gutierrez ever get points for that.
Haas's first double points finish since Australia.
Oh, okay.
My apologies to Mr. Nico Hulkenberg and Kevin Magnussen.
Who are now besties, by the way. They were watching the football together at the weekend, and Hulkenberg was describing Magnussen as his favourite Dane.
Oh,
gone are the days of the suck my balls situation.
He knows one, though, doesn't he? Let's be honest.
Yeah. Up yours, the inventors of bacon.
Oh, come on.
No, that means...
Come on,
when you think about
he spent
who's
enough
in the
time...
team, I was just going to say that means Jan Magnussen's a prick. Because he at least knows 2.
Good point.
Poor Sandy Toksvig.
I don't know if Sandy Toksvig and Nico Hulkenberg have ever crossed paths.
I'd love to see it because he's quite tall, isn't he?
Yeah, she would look quite wee next to him, I imagine.
One of my last internships in TV before I fucked it off was with Sandy Toksvig Company. When she came in, I was sat down at the desk and I was still taller than her. She's a diddy woman, she is. About 3'9".
But yeah, I mean, Haas are on a better season than last year. They've still got a long way to go to match their 93 points of 2018.
Oh, they got 93 points.
Yeah.
That is insane, to be fair.
That's ridiculous. Haas.
Yeah. Yeah.
With Grosjean.
With Grosjean, who even got a 4th place that year.
As in Austria, wasn't it?
Yeah.
As well. Yeah.
Yeah, they got.
Who was his teammate?
K-Mag.
Fuck.
Was that the Rockstar Wanker year?
2018.
It must have been. Yeah.
Yeah, the year when it was basically just a fake Ferrari.
Yeah.
Oh,
that would explain it. But yeah, I mean, Haas seemed to be on a bit of an upswing. Gene is committing more time to the team.
Mm-hmm.
Although he's now back.
Not what they needed.
No.
I think he may actually be committing more money to the team, but he's backed out of selling the NASCAR team now.
So maybe he's not committing more time. He's just going to give them a check and stay the fuck out of it.
No, that would work as well. Yeah, it's now it's just going to be Haas NASCAR or Hascar.
Hascar.
And yeah, I think they've just got rid of Tony Stewart now. So I want to know what lineup they are going to have next year.
I mean, it's Behrman +1, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm really interested to see how Behrman works out.
He's going to go one way or the other. You know, it'll be are Ferrari going to be holding him in reserve in case the Lewis project completely fails, and
I was just going to say that,
and they Leclerc him into the big team.
Yeah, he could be in the pound seats there to get into Ferrari.
Yeah, because I mean they haven't got Sauber as a fallback team anymore.
Yeah, I mean even if he ends up doing he's young, Behrman. He's what, 18?
About that.
So even if he does a couple of seasons with Haas, by the time Lewis is ready to retire,
yeah,
he's still going to be young enough to be a young driver for Ferrari.
Yeah, there's just one thing that he needs to improve: his luck. He just has incredibly bad luck this season.
Oh, I thought you meant his image. I was like,
I thought that.
No, he looks fine, doesn't he?
Harsh.
His good fortune.
His fortune got you.
We'll go for that one. Although, what the hell is the accent?
The accent is mixed, isn't it? 'Cause he's young. He signed for Ferrari when he was young. I think he's done Italian and German F4, so he has just a sort of generic Central European flavour to his voice.
Yeah. No, but it'll be interesting to see Haas post summer break, because that's usually when things start to fall off, because
it's when they pretty much give up, isn't it?
Yeah, that's when the money stops.
Yeah, they've got to get all their. It's a bit like Perez. You've got to get all your best results in now because it dries up after this. Or in Perez's case, 2016.
I would feel if he does do the bit and like he is a good, like it turns into a good Formula One driver, like it's great for British motorsport because like I don't think we give like British drivers enough credit because you've got like Hamilton, Lando, Russell, Albon, kind of,
yeah.
Like with. As far as Formula One drivers go, we've produced nothing but fucking bangers. Like these are people that could have long careers in Formula One.
Nothing but bangers. Jolyon Palmer.
No, every car he was in went bang.
Yes.
Will Stevens.
He had the worst luck of recent history. I think Will Stevens might be pushing recent history a little bit, but the excellent surname, and I did very much enjoy that surname come the Formula One game. But it just seems I can't think of a time where we've had such good British drivers on the grid.
And yet we haven't had an all-British podium since 1968.
It's got to be coming, hasn't it?
You'd think with the talent up there, yes.
Well, you Yeah, we're only a Max retirement and something silly with the Ferraris away from that potentially happening this year.
And you can guarantee something silly will happen with Ferraris at some point.
This is very true.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, next year it goes a step away from coming true because the thing that happens to Ferrari is going to be what stops it.
Surprise podium for Albon.
Maybe. I'm still. I still believe that there's like the sleeping world champion in Albon, as in like a Button world champion. You know, like Button had that like the hot minute in BAR where Schumacher was just destroying everybody in Ferrari, and Button was putting his BAR places where it probably shouldn't have gone. And I think that would have been, if he'd have had the opportunity to get into a really good car then, maybe you would have seen something akin to like what Lando Norris is doing now, like a Max Verstappen coming in, because he was young enough to do it then. But I think Albon could be the same as a Button, where he's not like exploded there, but if he just happened to be at the right place at the right time with the right car, I think Albon could do something pretty special.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's happened quick for him to do a proper Button, because Albon is now only a year younger than Button was when he won his title.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh, I take everything back. No, like I still think he's a decent Formula One driver, but yeah, no time's not. I just had it in my head. How old's he? How old was Button when he won his world championship?
29.
29.
Was he? I thought he was in his 30s. I thought he was like 30.
Because he's had a permanent state of looking 37 since about 2006.
That's fair.
So he still does now. So it's just so happened that way.
But yeah, Albon's 28. He's not a young kid anymore.
No. How old's Lando then?
Maybe 24.
24?
Right. See, I think that's the confusing thing, because I forget that I lump them all in as the same age, and they're just not, are they?
I think Albon had sort of a year or two away from racing when he was a teenager and sort of found his way back to it, I think.
He started reading Quran and hanging out outside bridges and things. Off Albon era. Brilliant.
I think
I'd say something else there, but it's 150% shacked. So
I would like to hear this.
And that's one for off air.
I'm disappointed.
Every time I say it in my mind, I can't say it. So
Albon.
It's just a meta joke. I'm just slowly trying to make sure that Kieran can't work for the BBC.
Albon also started karting later. Yeah, I think Lando had a shorter karting career as well, possibly. I think they both started doing singles. No, around about the same time. But no, Albon's just been around for bloody ages.
Yeah, well, this was the thing, because all of a sudden when you were saying that, I remember Lando Norris saying that he used to have a poster of Albon when he was karting. Yeah, so it makes sense.
Yeah,
and then even the Max Verstappen, there's that picture of Verstappen where he's like a teenager, and Lando Norris that looks like about
a
7.
child.
Yeah.
So yes, if Albon's going to do a Jensen Button, then he needs to get into a Brawn next season.
Yeah. That's he needs to get himself in that Audi immediately and cross his fingers.
Yeah. Then Soslo Hulkenberg wins it.
The horrid DeLorean.
By scoring nothing but fourths.
Yeah.
Right, so if we're doing the normal team order, I guess that does mean we come to Red Bull next. Perez.
Do you know what?
That's his worst Red Bull race yet. Where
he lost a wheel-to-wheel race with Hulkenberg.
He got overtaken on pure pace by Albon, who was on harder tyres.
I don't know. I don't know this off the dome, so I will give credit where it's due, and that was from the P1 podcast. But Max Verstappen has a big crash, loses a wheel, gets a penalty, has to limp around the track for like the best part of a lap before he can get back into the pits. Still finishes 17 seconds ahead of his teammate.
I was going to use that. I was going to use that stat, but yes,
fucking wild.
Had the crash not happened, Perez would have finished around 67 seconds behind Max at Austria.
You are getting towards the point of like you're using a calendar to measure the distance between.
A lap is what, 1 minute, 1 minute 12?
Yeah,
box standard racing speed.
Yeah.
Yes, I
remember
think it
back in like the 50s where they'd say, "Oh, he's coming into the pit stop. He's got out. He's gone for a pint of milk. He's having a smoke, and it's okay because he's 3 laps in the lead." You could do that nowadays with Perez.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's gone to the loo. He's trying to chat up Nelson's daughter. Oh, he's got back in the car. Oh, and he's only just been unlapped by Perez.
Yeah. Perez had the 11th fastest lap of the race, 1:09, which was a full 2 seconds slower than Alonso. All right, softer tyres. But it was 1.7 seconds slower than Lando's, who was the fastest that didn't put the softs on.
Yeah, they signed his contract too early. But, if what you read online is to be believed, it's all about merchandising anyway in Mexico, so it doesn't matter.
I mean,
I don't believe that.
It's a what? Oh, I don't know. Regular listener, tweeter, Discorder, Jana went to Mexico couple of times over the last few years, and everywhere she went, Perez was advertising everything.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't.
Oh yeah.
You couldn't avoid. You couldn't
huge.
avoid seeing his face and not just him in a t-shirt holding a product, him in Red Bull gear holding a product, and that's what shifts things.
Yeah, but Red Bull's fucking Red Bull. Do you know what I mean? That's like trying to say, it's Apple needs somebody good behind them to help promote the brand. They're Red Bull are at that point where they're the brand, they're energy drinks.
Yeah,
so
but it's people buying into it, so they're also buying Red Bull team merch because that's what Checo wears.
Yeah, I think Red Bull is too much of a serious organization to be affected by that. I'm sure it doesn't hurt, but this is the same team that essentially doesn't give a fuck about constructors' championships. They want to win Formula One World Drivers' Championships.
No, they just want to sell a sugary fizzy drink with all the fun bits from coffee in it.
Yeah, but that's the thing with Red Bull though, that their brand it's not their
Red Bull.
Their brand sells a lifestyle.
Yeah, I mean Red Bull
Ferrari.
aren't a drinks company or a racing team or a bunch of extreme sportsmen who set themselves on fire and chuck themselves out of planes or whatever the latest one is, or if there's danger of death. Red Bull are a marketing
passport
company.
to gnarly.
Yeah,
a passport. Yeah, but the thing is, Perez pootling around, even if it's doing well in Mexico, isn't a passport to gnarly for a fucking global brand.
Yeah.
It's a fucking mistake to keep him on so long.
It's crazy. Like, it is crazy. And if I know, like, Max didn't win the race because him and Lando came together. If Piastri hadn't have had that penalty, I don't think Max and Lando have that incident anyway. One of the McLarens wins that race, regardless of whether Max finishes or not, because they would have worked a way around. Either they pit they pit Lando to undercut Verstappen, and they've still got Piastri there attacking him, or they pit Piastri to try and do something and jump the pair of them. They can't. If we start this season right now, Max Verstappen cannot win the World Championship against two McLarens.
That's the thing. McLaren don't have to cover off the other driver. They're only racing one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It should be that if you have your Lando and your Max crash, it should be that Perez is then in contention for a race win, and he just wasn't.
Wasn't he? Wasn't in contention for a podium?
No, he just wasn't in the conversation.
It's wild. I mean, remember when he when he joined Red Bull, we were like, "Is he going to give like Max a run for his money?" We were so wrong.
Yeah, but so was he, because I mean, he was, he was convinced he was going to be, what was it, 2022 world champion.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's what's broken him. I think that's what stopped him being the driver that he was when he went to Red Bull.
Miami last year permanently broke him.
I think he just found out hard and fast he's Barrichello. And
that's a little rude to Barrichello, I'd argue. I see what you mean, though.
Yeah.
The atmosphere, the idea of him. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I think there's obviously a mentality in some drivers that understand. I mean, you hear people talking about like that being like teammates of Michael Schumacher, where they were, I mean, probably selected because of this quality, where they were just a little bit too slow. I think you'll get certain driver pairings like Button and Hamilton, or like Hamilton, Alonso, Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc, where both of those people think they're better than their teammates. Lewis and George Russell, I'm sure, are exactly the same as well, where George thinks he's every bit as good as Lewis Hamilton, and Lewis Hamilton thinks, I'm the greatest driver in Formula One. I'm obviously better than you.
And Lewis and Bottas, in Bottas's mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
But no, even Bottas, I'm sure if you sat down with him and had like an honest conversation, he'd turn around and say the same things people used to say about Schumacher, where it's like, well, you'd go out and you'd do your best, but he would just have this extra bit that I couldn't find. And that's when drivers like Rubens Barrichello, who is good enough and probably should have been a world champion at some point if it wasn't for the Schumacher era. The Felipe Massa is another good example of it. But
is he still trying to be a world champion?
Maybe.
He's in Brazilian. He's in Brazilian stock cars at the minute.
No, I mean, is he still suing for the 2008 one?
Oh, probably.
Yeah, it's almost like a posthumous world championship, but Formula One's got to die for him to have it. But I just think that Perez hasn't got over the part where he's just not good enough to fight Max, and that's destroyed him as a driver.
Yeah, you were watching the energy get sucked out of him.
Ironic, isn't it?
When you put it that way, yeah, didn't think of that. Right, we'll move on.
One last Red Bull thing. This could probably be covered under McLaren as well.
I wouldn't have one last Red Bull now. It's 10:10. You'll never sleep.
Just quickly, can we not pretend that we're talking about Red Bull and we'll just say one more thing to bash Sergio Perez before we leave?
It's actually not. This is actually un-Sergio Perez related. Did anyone see that someone on Instagram mocked up a post saying lap 1 at the British Grand Prix next week? And it's what they've got is the Cops crash from 2021 with Max and Lewis, but they've sort of basically just copied over Lewis with Lando's car. So it looks like Lando's actually hitting Max out. And it was liked by Lando's dad. And all the Max fans are going, oh, you can't do that. See, well, this is just that's Lando fans in this. They're getting violent. This is bad. And every other comment afterward is, can we just a quick reminder of who your dad is, Max, if that's all right.
Ferrari. Sainz in third, or albeit inherited, but you got to be in it to win it.
Yeah.
And Charles Leclerc, who spent that much time in the pit lane, I was surprised that he wasn't presenting the notebook at the end of the race.
Did he do 3 pit stops?
4.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Wacky strategy.
The first one was for a new nose,
Okay, yes, and then 3
and then had
normal.
then had a 3-stopper.
I wonder if there was any more damage than just the nose, because he just went nowhere.
That would make sense and explain why he was like shitting his way through tyres.
I mean, comedy moment of the race was when his race engineer came on and said, "Don't worry, on this strategy, we can see that you are good for points."
No. What are you talking about?
It's like he wouldn't have even been 11th if Lando and Max hadn't have come together.
Do you think that's just one of the situations where someone in the garage shouted to someone over, said, "Jeff, I just want you to say something." What? Just say something. Lie. Just say something nice.
That was was peak Ferrari.
It was abysmal, wasn't it?
What? Peak Ferrari having the guy that kept on like almost last, and the guy that they've unceremoniously shunted off up there leading the way for the team.
Yeah.
It's a clunky hashtag, but I have seen hashtag Ferrari sacked the wrong driver quite a lot this weekend.
There's a special talent to turning around to your driver with 15 laps to go and saying, "We're projected for points here," when you're 18th. And you're on the wrong tyre. That's impressive. Give him that. I love how he comes in pit lane and go, "Okay, right, we're still going to salvage points. New front wing, here we go. What tyres am I on? Mediums. What?"
What you didn't hear is the engineer getting back on Charles Leclerc and said, "Yeah, Charles, sorry about this. It turns out that list was in reverse order."
Yeah. Oh, more laps. I have to do more laps.
We have a little feature on Ferrari on this week's Patreon show where we talk about possibly an impending disaster with Lewis signing for them, and it turns into a little bit of a free-for-all on a variety of Ferrari things. If you want to hear that, subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/3legs4wheels, and we'll be doing more of these little F1, what was it, vignettes.
Yeah, not necessarily news, not something we would normally go into on the main pod, just a bit of a topic that sort of grabbed our attention.
Yeah, our sprint races.
Yeah.
Oh shit, we haven't even mentioned the sprint.
I can't remember what happened in the sprint.
Not a great deal. It promised so much and delivered fuck all.
Norris got Piastri'd.
He did, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yes.
And
well, there we go. We covered the sprint.
And Max won, and Sauber were anonymous.
Yeah.
But Logan finished 16th with all 20 cars still running.
Wow.
Yeah. It turns out, though, that being Piastri'd is nowhere near as violent as being maxed.
Well, that's good, because now we come to McLaren. Piastri's pulled things together.
Yeah. Solid weekend.
Yeah, it was a shame for him in qualifying having that, the penalty. Well, it was having his lap removed. I still wonder Right, if Lando has Piastri's penalty and Piastri has smacks into like Max Verstappen, like exactly same race situation, but you swap Piastri and Norris. Does Norris inherit that race win? Has he already got himself in the position to win the race rather than come behind George Russell? Because I would argue that Norris would have been good. What was Piastri, like 2.5 seconds behind George Russell?
1.9.
In this scenario, does Norris still get rear-ended by Leclerc and carry damage all race?
Yeah,
Okay.
you can do. Yeah, I'd still put Norris like a second, 2 seconds up the road from where Piastri would have that, because I like Piastri. I think he's a really good driver, but I do still think there is questions about his race pace that kind of need answered. Like now at this point in his second season of Formula One, it's like the sprint race was really interesting to me because like Norris was pushing Max around the circuit when he was in DRS, and as soon as he got pushed wide and Piastri slipped past, Piastri couldn't stay in the DRS, and then the next thing is McLaren are 3-4 seconds behind Max Verstappen.
The thing is though with the sprint race, you do tend to see drivers not pushing as hard as they can because it's extra wear on race parts.
You don't want to wreck the car just before quali, do you? But yeah, I mean, Lando did seem to be having a good go.
What, wrecking the car?
No,
Verstappen.
Norris was trying to win. Yeah. I think it was a real mistake for McLaren. Like there was a moment there where there was still enough time for Norris to go back at Verstappen in the sprint race, and they should have swapped the cars.
Yeah, I think it may have worked, and if they had swapped them round, I think Lando would have probably been a little bit closer. But if the situation was reversed and Lando was carrying the same damage that Piastri had, I don't know. I think we'd have still seen the same result.
I think the thing would be is with the same damage, do you think that Lando would have been over a second and a half quicker than Piastri? I think that's a slam dunk guarantee.
I mean, looking at the fastest laps, Lando's was 7/10 quicker. So yeah, the potential could have been there. And George was 4/10 slower than Piastri's fastest lap. So the McLaren's had the pace. Lando may well have done it.
He might have.
Yeah, if you look at that, it's like over a second difference. Then, yeah,
I just feel like Piastri goes to sleep. There's like there's this lull in a race where Piastri kind of like, oh shit, like Norris is 7 seconds ahead of his teammate now. I mean, it's not Perez levels of issues, but it is.
That's more like a coma.
Yeah, I think I think it's just worth keeping an eye on it because if it's like this for the rest of the season, then you've got to go. And Norris destroyed Daniel Ricciardo. Who knows the. If we look at Max Verstappen as being like the best driver on the circuit right now, or at least the man to beat, the only guy that really looks capable of beating him right now is Norris, given the machinery. So maybe it's just the fact of Norris is. We know Norris is a great driver. Maybe he's the best driver.
I feel like with Piastri, it looks like he sort of maybe the tyres just go off too soon with him, and that's something he needs to sort of just get a little bit better at. But
yeah,
he's got half a season left. It might come.
It's just interesting that for like we said, I think was it in the Patreon, like I mentioned that the like whatever it is with tires or when the fuel comes down the McLaren, that car like gets rapid, and that's when Norris is hassling Verstappen. Yet that's the same point of the race where Norris becomes rapid is the same part of the race where Piastri starts to lose a load of time to his teammate as well. And I don't just think that's Norris gapping Piastri. I think that's also a bit of Piastri just losing pace through the course of a race.
Like it could just be how they both manage the tyres. I mean, look at Miami when Lando was saying that he didn't have the pace, but said you've got the tyres, and then all of a sudden he saved his tyres, and in comparison to everybody else, he starts flying.
Yes, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think Lando is more of a tyre whisperer than Piastri is, and that's why he can get better pace out of a lighter car because he's saved the tyres better.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, I think Piastri front loads all his pace.
Yeah, but the beginning of his pace isn't particularly great either. That's the thing. There's no point of a Grand Prix where he looks quicker than his teammate. And if he did take all the life out of his tires early doors, I would at least expect him to be hassling Lando for the first half of a race.
That's the kind of thing that comes with experience, though, and he's only in his second season. And I think...
but that's the thing, though. That's what I don't understand. I'm not having a go at you here, but that's what I don't get. I don't get how he could either be using his tires up too much, and like you say, front loading the use of them, but still not being on pace with Lando for that section.
Yeah. I mean, he's not as quick at the moment, but he's got a lot of time to develop.
You don't just damage tyres by going quick, though, do you? It'll be the way he's driving, how he's cornering.
Yeah, that's fair, sliding around.
Whether he's running in people's air or not.
I was going to say, he's usually, if he's qualified further back, he's got more of a struggle, which is harder on the tyres.
Whether you're getting punted by Leclerc or not.
Yeah.
Either that, or maybe McLaren have accidentally bred the perfect number 2 for when they actually fight for a championship next year.
Could be that.
Could well be. It could well be. He could be the new Barrichello.
Oh, the dizzy heights. Oh no, it's even worse. He's the next Mark Webber.
Oh, that's gotta hurt. Right, that just leaves Mercedes. First win for Mercedes since 22.
Mm-hmm.
Sao Paulo.
Yes.
If memory serves.
Mm-hmm.
That was George Russell as well.
All very easy in the end. Didn't have to do anything in the race. Just had to wait till the 2 cars in front crashed.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, that was all that was really needed.
And had Piastri not had his lap time deleted, maybe it would have been different. Piastri would have won the race. But don't think about that.
No.
He also won me £105.
Oh, well, that's the main thing, isn't it?
We saw the tweet.
That's why he did it.
You could buy a new phone for that.
I know, but I did buy some. I'd already bought the new phone, but I did buy some Nothing Buds for it as a celebration.
Ah.
Where was Hamilton though? I mean, apart from fourth, obviously. But...
Well, yeah.
He wasn't as bad as Perez when teammates are compared.
No.
But he wasn't where he should have been. But, well, I'd say that. I mean, again, Piastri was quick, just had his lap time deleted. Russell was clearly quicker than him all weekend, and Sainz is a good driver. Someone has to finish 4th out of that 4. This time it was Lewis. It just shows that he still isn't on top of that car.
Yeah. I think it shows that that Mercedes are messing with his tyre temperatures.
I agree.
They've not.
Now, I don't want to be the chief conspiracy theorist on this podcast here.
Impossible.
It's not possible. But I agree. I think they are putting little pebbles in his shoes.
That is diabolical.
And every time he's going, what's that? What's that? Oh crap, I'm off. You know?
No, they're putting the wrong amount of tinfoil in the tyre blankets. I mean, a great race. It's great to see George win. Friend of the podcast, George Russell. Mm-hmm. Or do we call it relative of the podcast, George Russell?
Can do.
I honestly didn't think we'd see a Mercedes win this year.
No, I mean, that's the 5th different winner this year.
Yeah.
I thought from Canada that it was a possibility. You know, because they had a car capable of winning in Canada, and you think, oh, it's just going to take stuff to happen. The reason I put a bet on that £5 on George to win was because I thought he would be 3rd. That's where the car would take him. He would be unchallenged in 3rd, and Max and Lando might hit each other. That is 100% the thought process that went through my head when I put the bet on.
I want next week's lottery numbers from you.
I know.
That just leaves us, and this is going to be fun. Rock stars and wankers. Oh boy. We'll do the participation award first.
I'm gonna go Sauber, just generally.
Can they participated if we didn't see they were there?
We saw Zane Maloney stall.
I was gonna say that. Yeah. No, we didn't. We didn't see any of Sauber.
Aston Martin, really. I know Fernando got the fastest lap, but I think that was just a pissing competition. You know, they were a bit participatory. Anyone got any other thoughts on that?
Sargent. He was 2 laps down.
He participated, just not in the whole thing.
I mean, we say Sargent every week. That is the new version of the old school past the disaster predictor, where it was always lap one, turn one.
Yeah. I mean, it's late and everyone needs to go to bed, but I'm going to throw this in there. George Russell
didn't do anything spectacular and then got handed a win.
He did nothing, but he won the race.
That's oddly fair.
He nearly overtook Lando into turn 3 on lap 1. He nearly got overtaken by Lewis on turn 1, lap 2. And then he did nothing until he inherited the win.
I think George Russell is massively fucking underappreciated in Formula One.
Oh yeah, what I should state is that he was probably, all round the best driver out there.
Yeah, I think it was his best race as well.
But he didn't do anything of note, is what I mean. Which is hard to say when he won the race.
If the Lando and Max thing hadn't have happened, we'd have been going on about a nice, solid, incident-free, comfortable drive to get a podium.
Yeah,
which was really well done for him.
Yeah,
but I don't think he's given enough credit this year for getting on top of Lewis Hamilton. It's important for, like Charles Leclerc can't get on top of Carlos Sainz, and it's just as important for Charles Leclerc to have a really good season before Lewis comes into the team. Lewis led the way in Mercedes last year, and George has gone away, thought about it. Whatever he's done to prepare himself for this season has done better, and George Russell is the best Mercedes driver this year. And I think the having like the most successful driver like get back on terms with you like he did last year and kind of show him up a little bit. George was looking a little bit average for a bit last year, and come back this year and go, no, like I'm special. I can win a world championship if you give me the right car, and I can also out-qualify and out-race the most decorated driver of all time.
They're called tattoos.
But it's very good. But I don't think anyone's given that enough credit. I think he deserves all of it because he was. I think that if last year would have carried on, especially with Lewis leaving, and Lewis was to spank George this year before he leaves the team, that's George is washed before he's even got going.
Yeah, it's become a bit of a tight battle in the Drivers' Championship as well. There's only 7 points between George in 7th and Checo in 5th, and Checo is going to plummet further, I think.
Yeah,
I think Checo might finish 8th,
even behind Hamilton.
Yeah, behind Piastri and Hamilton.
Do you think Red Bull are going to lose the constructors?
I mean, what's the?
I don't think Perez is the question. I think the question is how many does Lando take away from Max and vice versa.
Yeah, I mean
that would have been so good. You know, if that crash between Lando and Max had just ended in Max retiring and Lando winning the race, that would have been championship on. If he'd have made 25 points up, championship on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's 64 points. Red Bull have got a lead at the moment.
It's not a huge lead for this point of the season.
Yeah, but it's
so many races left.
It's ahead of Ferrari, so there's chance for him to grow it when Ferrari fuck up.
Yeah. But in McLaren aren't that much further back.
McLaren are only 23 points further back, so yeah, we're just over halfway through the season.
Mm-hmm.
We have been delaying this. Rockstars and wankers.
Well, George Rockstar.
Yeah.
Max Verstappen is Schrodinger's wanker because he is both a wanker and a rock star this weekend.
Yeah, it gave us a spicy end to the race, didn't it?
Gene Simmons.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I forgot we had a term for that.
Yes.
Yeah, he gets the Gene Simmons prize. Lando, rockstar, definitely.
Hulkenberg rockstar for that last lap with Perez.
Yeah.
Haas rockstar at that point, you could say.
Yeah. I'll throw
all of them.
Yeah, I'll throw in all of Haas because this week they did look like rock stars.
Track limits wankers because one of those corners had a gravel trap there, and somehow people were still getting pinged for going over track limits.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We fixed it. We fixed it. Here's some penalties.
Yeah, almost.
Yeah. Again, dipping your wheel in the gravel but being slightly off on track limits doesn't mean you've gained an advantage. FIA wankers. I mean, it's just been said, but I'm going to say it again.
I don't think anyone's going to argue with that.
I put Haas in the rockstar category in general.
We just did.
Yeah, we said that.
Yeah.
I thought we just said Hulkenberg.
I said Hulkenberg, and then everyone piled in with Haas.
I only heard Hulkenberg.
And then I agreed.
I'm going to add in a self-serving rock star here for my mate Adam, who starts his job at Silverstone today, as it's recorded, probably yesterday if you're listening. And he's so mild housemate. He's got his first week at Silverstone. He has to do the British Grand Prix.
It's a nice quiet start, isn't it?
Amazing.
Yeah, he has to camp from Wednesday to Monday in a tent on site. Week one of your new job. Your first new job in 12 years. He is a listener, yes.
Well done.
Oh, well, congrats on getting the job, and good luck with patching all those Porsche drivers together when they commit their 30 weekly minutes of barrier abuse.
And fingers crossed for good weather if you're camping as well.
Yeah. British Grand Prix this weekend. We will no doubt be fully active on all the socials over the weekend. You can get us at 3 Legs 4 Wheels on most of those. If you're feeling old school, drop us an email, 3legs4wheels@gmail.com, and on Twitter individually we are
at Sean Cowper,
at Kieran is boring,
at the Lee Stevens,
at Pablo100, and Flood, who definitely is coming back soon. He's still in the chat, in our chat group and everything, at Flood21. We will talk him into getting this bloody studio built in his house at some point. Right, I am just going to drop a little marker in here because